welcome to yet another episode of Nubos Pod. Today I have a guest all the way from Los Angeles. Can you introduce yourself a bit?
Yo, what's up? It's XP the Marxman, and I'm kicking it here with my man Naibo. It's been a lovely trip out here to Copenhagen, out here in Denmark. And yeah, man, I'm here, man. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thanks. It was your first time you were here the last time, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so to those who don't know, we booked him at our jam like a year ago. I actually think today, a year ago was the day that we announced that you were playing.
Oh, word, fire.
I think it was the 11th of February last year. But you were playing outside of Copenhagen a bit, so now you got to play more or less close to the center of Copenhagen.
Definitely.
Yeah, yesterday. So yesterday you were playing Copenhagen, and because you played here the last time, you also got to hook up with a good friend of mine and are doing some stuff that we'll talk about later. But I think first of all, we have to take it a bit back.
Okay.
So how did you discover hip-hop? How did it come into your life? I'm guessing where you come from, it's a bit more just part of the culture in itself.
It's prevalent. Yeah, I think you know I would say like I'm a MTV baby. You know, I feel like I grew up in the era of MTV, and I feel like I grew up in an era where like rock and hip hop was like very cohesive. You know, you sit there and watch MTV and you're a fan of the hip hop song that just played, and then Nirvana comes on, you're like, oh wow, this is dope too, you know? So I think coming from that era and just growing up listening to old, classic rock stuff and soul oldies, you know, like the Motown records and stuff. I think a lot of just my ear for just good, you know, beats and instrumentals. I think once I heard hip hop, I was like, what is this, you know? And MTV really brought hip hop to me. You know what I mean? I was able to watch the videos and just like really be inspired, you know. And to tell you the truth, I know what song truly inspired me to get into hip hop, and it was "Summertime" by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, that was also apart from the Vanilla Ice stuff. One of
the
first ones that really got me into it. Also
got you into that. The video just like it did it for me. You know, they look cool. They're like, you know, the way they're dressed, the way, you know, the chicks are in there. They're like in the back of that.
The way
truck.
He was doing his Rakim flow. And
yeah, he straight mimicked Rock. At this point, I think you know, everybody thought that Rakim wrote it, but that's not the case. We've been told that all the hip hop heads that know this and had that, you know, suspicion that he may have written it. He hasn't written it, but we all know that he bit Rakim style.
Yeah, he even admitted it.
He even admitted
later.
It. Yeah, I mean, you know, as a true hip hop artist, as a true hip hop, you know, fan and having the ear of like you know these things, you know, you can hear.
Yeah, that's the reason why everyone thought it was written.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that was pretty much my introduction, was like, you know, seeing MTV.
But that's a bit interesting also, because being from the West Coast, and like if that's a really Philly track, even though it's also a summer track, so it probably fits LA in that way.
Yeah, and I think what it was, I think, you know,
also the sample fits LA pretty well.
Yeah, like and just like I, you know, as a kid, you know, there was like the Eazy-E's, the NWAs and all that stuff, but I think, you know, as a kid, seeing, you know, the Fresh Prince look fly, he wasn't on no gangster shit, he wasn't cursing, he wasn't, you know, doing all this other shit. And I think growing up with that in my household, it was like a breath of, you know, fresh air of like getting away of like, you know, from all the gangster shit and like seeing all that.
The same for some other people seeing the gangster shit.
They're like, oh wow, like it's, and like, you know, when and I think that's another reason why, you know, going back to how I rap now is you know, people would say it's more like on the boom bap-ish East Coast kind of feel, but I feel like I gravitated towards a lot of things that I wasn't seeing, and you know, what Snoop was rapping about, what Eazy-E was rapping about, what Dre was like a lot of that stuff was in my household. You know, the low riders, the backyard boogies, the gang banging, the fucking, you know, all that shit was it, like you see that, so you're like, I want to see something different. So you're seeing like the Timbs and like, you know, leather, you know, it's like, and I live in California, and we don't
colors as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What you couldn't wear in certain areas.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, so there was just a lot of things that were kind of prevalent to me that I was seeing and hearing in hip hop that I would like literally wake up to and kind of see on a regular basis. So seeing that video in particular, and like just people having super fun in it, you know, the video was, you know, a summer day, the clothes are super ill, you know, colorful kicks, like it just looked hip hop to me, and that was the first snapshot that I put in my head, how like hip hop was meant to be, like having fun, people, you know, dancing, people enjoying, like so I kind of kept that with me through it all. It's just having that ultimate enjoyment of just loving what you do and making other people have fun in the process too, you know. Yeah, so that and you know, that was in the early 90s, man. Like you know, this is like 90, it's like 1990. It's like, yeah, it's like when I first got introduced to it, you know.
Yes, but was it sort of an escape from reality as well?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say hip hop's always, you know, been an escape. Even now, like I'm not saying that I'm running away from anything, but I feel like it gets my mind into a place where I can, you know, concentrate on something that I know is not only gonna help me, but it's gonna help other people as well. The music that I feel I make, of course, I put a lot of like reality rap in there, and reality rap to me is just real street rap shit, like drugs, the violence and everything. But I think it's scenario based, you know. I'm not trying to teach it, and I'm not trying to preach it, but I'm just trying to identify with it and let it be told so people can see for what it is, and then they can take from it, you know. I'm not trying to push it in people's heads and say, oh, this is the music I make murder rap. I'm trying to let people know the inside scoop to people's everyday lives that grow up in the hood and certain instances and certain shit. So I feel like, you know, to really capsulize my music and say that, you know, he makes shit for the killers or shit for, you know, violent, it's like, nah, I'm just trying to make people aware of what I grew up with and what people like myself have to deal with on a daily basis, you know, just to survive. So
yeah, because that's also part of your history, and
definitely
also what is prevalent in your rap.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because also, I don't know, you ended up living in, what was it, San Fernando Valley, or
yeah,
what was it? But when did you move there? You lived somewhere else?
Yeah, so I was born in Culver City, and I was living in Gardena, which is pretty much the harbor area, which is what they call it. It's more towards like the western end of it, and like the beach is maybe 20 minutes away. But in this area, it's considered a part of South Central. So it's even though it may be, you know, it's by the coast and stuff, but it's shit, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
So growing up there, and later on learning that the reason why I didn't end up living there and staying there was because I would have been another statistic to what was already at hand, you know, because my mom and my dad are from the same LA street gang. I have aunts, uncles, I have cousins, all types of shit from, you know, from Gardena 13, which is, you know, the south side of California. And, you know, it really gets really deep, you know what I mean, when it comes to that street shit, because it's really, you know, political, because what happens in the jails happens outside, and it runs things that happen outside. So I don't want to get too much into it, but that's pretty much my lineage, you know what I mean? I'm a Chicano American. I'm fourth generation to America, so I speak a little bit of Spanish. My parents weren't trying to teach me it, because we were taught to assimilate into American, you know, culture, and you know, you speak English, you don't speak Spanish, and you try to be as American as you can just to assimilate and be a part of it. But I feel now, like, I just had a discussion of this, like, now it's like you can't even get a job if you don't speak Spanish and English. You know, it's like they're like, oh, we're looking for a person that's bilingual, and you're like, oh, well, this whole time you're telling me I gotta just speak English, and now you're looking for people that don't speak just English. So it's just, yeah, it's you know, I think hip hop truly became my place of home, because growing up in America and not being, you know, fully accepted by the Mexican people because I don't speak Spanish, and not being accepted by the American people because I'm not white, you know. I really had to find my place. I struggled a lot, and growing up too, a lot of people don't know this. I had to go to speech class because I had a stutter, like a bad one, and it inhibited me from even having a conversation at times. And so I had to go to speech class from the age, well, I would say first grade to maybe third grade, and I would go like almost every day, like maybe, well, not every day, it'd be like a couple days out of the week. I'm sorry about that, but my speech therapist, she was with me through those 3 years, and what we pretty much came up with was that my mind was too quick for my physical, you know, body. So all these words would just get cluttered in just one spot, and I would sit there and struggle to get these out. But she taught me how to, you know, just slow down, you know, and just relax before you say stuff, and just kind of word it right before it comes out. So she really taught me how to control it. And then once she taught me how to control it, that's when I really locked in on the hip hop. And I was like, okay, so I kind of connected the two. I was like, okay, if my mind's working too quick, you know, for my body, then that means that I could, you know, think of these crazy rhymes in my head, and then I could do this, you know. So long story short, anyways, that's basically it, man. It's just overcoming situations that I was able to use as fuel to the flames to master my art and my craft, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. But how important is the Chicano culture to you?
To me, that's me. I'm the big mijo, you know. Like that's what we call each other as a term of endearment when we're in the hood. Hey, what's up, mijo? How you doing? You know. And I think, you know, just me being Chicano and hip hop, and the type of hip hop that I do, I feel like there's not a lot of Chicanos that make that kind of hip hop that I make. You know, that's you know, we've had some, you know, but I feel like for
yeah, but most of them have had a different rap style.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
the style of rap.
That's what I'm saying.
Might have been the same.
Yeah. Well,
and then there's people like Tusi that goes in a bit of a different way. And
right, they got like the super Chicano rap where it's like, you know, the Kid Frost and like, you know, they have that stuff where it's like, I would say it's super cultured from you know, that standing point. But I feel like I wanted to rap with the greatest. Like, you know, like in my head I was like, I want to be the Tupac to my people. I want to be the Biggie, where like no one could fuck with me. Like, you can't say, oh, he's dope, but he doesn't, like, the raps are okay, but his voice is dope. Or like, the raps are really dope, his voice, I don't really like it. Like, I sat and studied like the greats on how they projected their voices, and from ad-libs to just everything, and just like really seeing like the greats. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own. And I threw it all in the pot, and it took years, you know, to get to this point where I feel really comfortable in, you know, my skill set and who I am as an artist, and, you know, what I can do. So I just feel like at the end of the day, you know, we're all a culmination of just everything that we've seen, everything that we've you know, been inspired by, and then we create our own, you know. And I feel like even with you as a DJ, I feel like, you know, you've, you know, taken a culmination of just all the great, you know, DJs you've seen in your life, and now you're Naibo, you know, because you were able to study the greats and see, okay, this is the top shit, I want to be the top shit. If not, I want to be better. And you just worked, you know, to get to that point. So
Exciting. Also, I want to take it a bit back. It was Tupac also you mentioned earlier,
right.
But Tupac was also one of the ones who inspired you first, really, wasn't it?
Definitely, man.
Also, to the way to express yourself.
Right. Because I feel like Tupac was really a martyr in his time, only because he was speaking on shit that a lot of people wouldn't speak on, or even know how to speak on it. You know, like, you know, Brenda's Got a Baby, like, that's a very intricate, very deep, intimate track, because and it's, you know, like, people don't want to speak about that shit because it's embarrassing, you know, to hear about a young girl out gets, you know,
Yeah, also in the early days, being like the non-prototypical
Right,
macho.
right.
and-
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Like,
and
being able to display emotions.
Right.
Being able to like talk about your mom. Being
Right.
able to talk about
Right.
your sensitive. Being able to
Yeah,
to talk about how you also can, have a relationship with a woman that's not sexual.
right, exactly. See that part.
write, or be able to just write poems.
Right, right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To be a sensitive guy, which was
And
kind
then
of not that allowed back then.
and then in the same right, be a fucking, be a badass too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
show your heart, but also be able to
But also be sort of like, what do you say? Really show how it also can get fucked up
oh yeah.
because
By
of what
being- yeah.
happens around you and how
Right.
your surroundings can shape you completely in the
Your
wrong way.
decisions and everything like that.
Because
Yes.
my favorite rapper is Tupac, but I can also see where it went wrong.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
also how he ended up
Where he
going
was
away
at.
from what he was standing,
Right.
like going in the opposite direction
Right,
at
right.
the end.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're very, very right. I never
Because
I
he
never seen
started
it that
like
way.
Panther Power.
Yeah, and then
started
and then
and like he used to treat women okay, and then it went over to a lot of some of the other stuff.
yeah, I think Pac had a lot of trauma too, towards like women and things like that. And in a sense, I
the
know.
court case probably did a lot.
Yeah, exactly. The rape case, like there was a lot of things that had happened in his life leading up to that point for him
And getting shot, I
to make
think,
that
really.
decision. Yeah, and just being on edge. You are the top artist of the world, and I get it. Like
I also think that the whole you're sure you're gonna die soon. How do you act? It might be.
Like I'm gonna go all out because
Yeah.
I already know my time is
Yeah, he
coming
has
soon.
a short time. He was talking
Yeah.
about it all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
But I can see where you're coming from with that as well, with the whole putting your heart on. Your
Yeah,
sleeve and,
yeah,
like really
yeah.
showing all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, when
'cause
you're
you have
talking
to.
about your mom.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, because I've lost my mom. It's been a couple years already, a little over 2 years. But through the process of my whole career, like when you have a person of significance like that was there from the beginning, and and she's seeing you travel and she's seeing you, and I feel like in his sense too, when he made that song, he's like, Mom, no matter what happened to me when I was a kid, it's not gonna deter me, and I'm not gonna use it to put myself in a position to not be successful. I'm not gonna use it as an excuse to be another fuck up and keep the cycle
You're repeating,
moving.
yeah.
So I think similarities with Pac and the inspiration that he was able to give me to express myself. He played a major role in the way that I move my pen and where I draw these lyrics from and where I draw the emotion that's into the lyrics from, and it's all from a real place. It's all from the heart. And I think as artists, I think that's the biggest thing too, because hip hop's very macho. It's G, black hoodies and shit. But I feel like if you can be a warrior that is not only emotional, but in the sense of feeling emotions for other people, not only your own. I think that creates a Tupac. I know he had his decisions that he made to lead to his demise, but we all seen what he was. He was a warrior for his people, for
Yeah, it meant a lot, and also supported a lot of people through his success.
Definitely.
Probably too many as well, because that's also part of the downfall as well.
Exactly, because it's all about who you surround yourself with.
And that probably wasn't as good as it should have been anyway. And when he found out what was leeching on him, that was probably also what led to the demise when he called them out.
Right.
So,
right,
but that's a longer story. It's always so thing. But how much did it mean to you that Tupac was from not from LA, but living in LA?
Living in LA, I think
or like Bay
he
Area
represented
LA.
it. Yeah, I feel like it was crazy because I mean he's like LA this, LA that, and then like you really see
MC New York.
Yeah, he's MC New York, and then like he lived in Baltimore, and then he moved to Oakland, and like all this crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like Tupac is
And also, but then it was a lot of LA, but it was a lot of the time was in Bay Area. He was there.
Exactly. He was in the Bay, like Oakland area and all that stuff.
Yeah, all
and,
those guys like
rapping Forte and like all that stuff.
They all rap with him a lot.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
Richie
like
Rich, you know.
He's a culmination of I feel like just street shit because he comes from the East Coast and like all the outlaws, they're all from New Jersey. You know what I mean? It's like there was a lot, and like these fools were on the West Coast screaming West Coast. You know,
people still think that Fatal was from LA.
That's what I'm saying, and it's crazy because you know as a kid you see a person like this repping for where you're from, and you're like, yo, this is so cool. And then as you grow up and you start seeing the key points to your favorite artist and you want to do the history on it, and you're like, why? And then you can get a sense of, I know why he is the way he is now. Because they say it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. And
that shaped him.
That shaped him completely because he's like, yo, like, and then.
Also, he was shaped in one way clearly in the Bay Area.
Right.
And he was shaped clearly one
way in LA.
Way when he went to LA.
And that was more the gangbang.
Exactly.
Culture, you know, because when he was with.
He was with the people that were getting out of the gang.
Right, because
Bay Area.
Yeah, and he was with Humpty Duck.
Because
Digital
he started
Underground,
with Underground,
and that's that hip hop's very fun. It's like he was a dancer.
When he was carrying their stuff.
He was like hopping around. Like that's super fun. Like that's
that led to meeting some of the other rappers in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and then,
but yeah, then it moved up.
Yeah, and you could see his elevation, and like I feel blessed because I have people throughout my whole career that seen me when I was just a kid trying to rap at high school. So there's people that are, there to give, the conviction to my, testimony and say, hey, this is what it is. This is what XP's been rapping since fucking, since I've known him. He used to ditch school. He used to do all, like, I used to live, like, I knew I was going to do this since I was a kid. I remember watching MTV and like doing the Running Man and like dancing around it, and like my mom asked me, she's like you want to do that, huh? I was like, Mom, I'm gonna do this, like, and it was like some hip hop shit on MTV. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna do this. And she's like, all right. And I remember she told me that story like right before I went on my first tour in 2012. Because I never knew that story. Then where I was like a kid, and I was like, Mom, like,
you don't remember.
Yeah, when you're a kid, but she told me that, and she's like, yeah, honey, like you actually told me that when you were a little kid. You're like, you looked at the screen and hip hop was playing. You're like, I'm gonna do that, Mom. And she supported me until the day she passed on, man. And she played a real big role on who I am today because my mom, she was a hustler, man. She made some really tough choices that led us through a lot of rough areas in life, but I feel like it ultimately made me who I am today. I have a lot of compassion. I have a lot of understanding and non-judgmental outlooks on individuals' upbringings and where they're at in life. You can't judge anybody, man. Everybody's handed their certain fucking cards, and you play them right and you play them well, you can get yourself to where you want to be. But if you're just saying, hey, I don't want to flip the cards, I don't even want to play, then don't expect anything to happen in life, And that's basically it, man. It's just having that support system through it all, whether it been my mom or like Tupac, and just utilizing the OGs as a source of inspiration to keep you moving. That's what I did throughout the whole process, man, was just utilize what I went through in my life and tell these real street stories,
Growing up in San Fernando Valley, who was the local, or because there weren't that many local rappers, were there?
Well, King T and the Licks are from the San Fernando Valley.
Okay, I didn't know it was exactly where you're from.
So J-Ro's from a Pacoima area, and I'm from, San Fernando, which is like literally like the same town, basically. And it's just like streets apart,
And J-Ro's been living in Malmö a lot of time.
That's what I'm saying. So this is a crazy story. J-Ro, when he moved, back from Malmö, he was like, who's the top MCs from, my town? And I came in, he was like, yeah, XP. So what he did was he locked in with all the local artists that were on the rise coming up, and he made a crew called 818 Antics, which is our area code, 818. So I am a part of 8 Winning Antics, and I went on tour with him, King T. We went around, Arizona. We did a couple shows, with Tash and shit.
Some big legends.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually had a studio space with J-Roll as well too in the same location. So we did this whole, a cannabis thing, when they legalized over there, he had just went back. So we started working in, the cannabis industry with certain individuals, and we were reluctant.
Stuff, or?
Yeah, well, that was mine, but we were doing other things with other people. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, man. That's one of the groups, and Styles of Beyond.
Yeah.
They're from my town.
I thought it was further north, but yeah.
Nah, yeah, they're from Northridge, which is the same place Linkin Park's from, and all crazy legendary shit around my area. And then also Richie Valens as well, but he's not hip hop, but that's a classic act right there,
Yeah. Also probably for the culture as well.
Yeah, for sure. The Chicano culture, and actually went to the same high school that he went to. You know what I mean? And there's it's actually in the movie, the one that
Billa Bamba movie.
Yeah, the one he goes to pick up Donna in his new car. That's the high school I went to, and all the girls oh my god, and she hops in the car and shit. That's the front of my school. Yeah.
But so, how connected? Because it's a bit away from LA, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes. With traffic, it's an hour and a half. But
not that far away.
No.
Because I was just wondering if you felt how connected you did feel to the whole LA scene, or there's looking further north. Or?
There's this local kind of hidden thing where it's you're a valley boy, it's LA dudes, and it's only a hill. So keep in mind, there's a freeway and a big hill. Just go over. There's LA. There's the valley on the other side. So this hill separates the two cities off of the 405. Which is the freeway that goes over. Anyways, but there's this, I don't want to say hate, but they don't think that the valley's that gangster because it's not South Central, it's not Compton, and it's not
even though it's adjacent to it.
Dude, it's as crazy. I don't know what they think, but I've seen some crazy shit, on both ends. But since I lived in the valley most of my life, it's a crazy fucking place, man. You got people from all around the world coming there. It's cheap to live, so it's not 100% great. It's not, so it has its shit.
That's what happens. Also, some of the places that's really cheap to live is that
you get a lot of the people that.
Yeah, exactly. The same happened in Richmond. The same happened like that.
Richmond is a crazy place too.
Yeah, because people moved there from the South because it was so cheap to live there.
Right.
And when they had to escape stuff, even when Master P did his stuff.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's see, and that's what I mean. There's always those main town dudes that are oh, it's LA. Because I rep LA hip hop, but the only reason I say LA hip hop because I'm not gonna go clear across the world and say San Fernando hip hop. I'm what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? I got this on my neck. I could easily put San Fernando, but it's I want to say, hey, it's LA hip hop. Generalize it. I'm from the San Fernando Valley.
Also, I don't think most people outside the States
are gonna know.
They heard of the valley, but San Fernando Valley. There's several valleys, right?
There's a gang of valleys in California. There's the San Gabriel Valley. There's the Central Valley. There's so it's just it's to really summarize it all. LA hip hop is it's big. You got and I would even say Oxnard too.
Even California hip hop.
Yeah, California hip hop is big because
there's so many local differences, especially in the 90s.
Even the Bay too,
the Bay is not one thing. San Francisco
they're their own thing. So let me tell you how much
was different from San Francisco.
Exactly.
Vallejo was
and they all have their own sounds. And the first time we ever went to the Bay from LA to perform, we performed and everything, and we had just released our first album. I'm gonna tell you how tight knit this hip hop community is. The Rhyme Addicts.
Yeah.
So we went up to the Bay to open up for Opio of Hieroglyphics. And so we did the show, whatever, and we had just dropped our project, so we're all happy. Yeah, we're gonna get some. So we went around the town, downtown San Francisco where the show was. Every person, this is how tight knit their hip hop community is, said, sorry, we only support local. And we're from LA. We drove all the way. This is 8-hour drive. You know, going up California, nobody supported us. I wasn't upset at it. I was in awe. But I'm like, fuck, why can't LA be like that? Like, but LA's just, it's Hollywood. So you got people coming in from all around the world to become an actor, become this, become that. Oversaturation.
Every people felt disrespected from the LA people sometimes.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Because
maybe
they had like their own like version of. They had their own TV stations with it. They had
own radio stations, their own magazines.
Exactly.
They have their own shit.
What was it? 404. I can't remember the name. The
they
one
have
with the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
480.
Yeah, they have their own shit, and like I got to see it firsthand as an artist, like trying to go and like integrate with you know, just be hip hop, and it's like, yo, this is our scene, dog. We don't support, you know, and see it like coming up, seeing that. It's like, we rep the West Coast. We're all, you know, but it's like that segregation within.
But also you could have that in the local environment, but still have so many different styles, because you had the whole beat junkie stuff. You had the hieroglyphic stuff. You also had the gangster stuff.
Yeah, the gangster shit. Yeah.
G-funk stuff.
G-funk.
But you also had the murder. You
had like different shit. Yeah, different regions.
That actually didn't sound alike, really. And you didn't necessarily, unless you were a real hip hop fan, had the same audience.
Right. Yeah, it was all different. Yeah.
But still, everyone supported each other.
Yeah. To a certain degree, I would say.
Yeah, of course.
There's
a lot of beef as well.
Yeah, you know, like, and then see, like, there's even stories of like artists like, you know, The Game. Like, he didn't blow up in LA. He went to the Bay and he started doing a thing, and then he blew up out there, and then he started popping, you know.
Yeah.
So like, it's just,
then he had the cred to go with
that, you know what I'm saying. So it kind of just has to do with you got to go where the love's at, you know what I mean. And me personally, I feel like LA, I love my city. They fuck with me, certain shows, you know, but I feel like still LA fully hasn't embraced me as one of their up and coming artists, you know, like you know. And there's certain key players that see me shooting, you know, and you know, they've already, you know, acknowledged me, and yo, man, we see you, much love, you know, OG cats in the game and stuff. But I feel, in terms of like the support factor from, you know, the fans showing up to the shows and buying the merch, and just overall support, I feel like I haven't fully gained access to that from LA, but it's coming. You know, I know my city is hard to crack. You know, it's you know, it's New York or LA, hard to crack. You know, it takes years, you know, to really make your foot known, and then even then, it's easier, you know, to get a Dr. Dre at your show and him be like, yeah, you know, I vouch for this, you know, this new kid or whatever, and then that really puts you up. But it's super rare for like OGs to really, you know, come down and say, hey, I see this kid, he's working, he deserves this shit, you know, I'm gonna help him. You know, it's super rare, but I'm super blessed and really thankful to all the OGs that have really, you know, reached down and you know, lending me a hand up, because it doesn't happen often. And like I said, man, the California whole hip hop scene, you know, with the Bay and just, you know, LA and even San Diego.
Yeah.
Even San Diego, dude. Their whole hip hop scene is really grown. They got some really dope artists hopping out of there right now. They got my homie Boo Boo the Prince, Samurai, Hyla Cologne. Let me see. Shit. There's a few, man. There's a rhyme style troupe. Like there's a lot of dope artists out of San Diego. So like I feel like California right now, in general, we are working together. Like I go to the Bay. I work in the Bay with my homie Zen How, and so there's shit happening, but it's not like on a super scale where it's like big artists. Until we become those artists and then say, hey, this is what's happening behind the scenes. You guys are unaware of this. Then it'll be something. But until then, we just got to keep chipping away at that shit, because there's not really a lot of love out there, you know, in the big city.
Yeah, but also, you know, it's harder probably some ways because there's so many people. So you have a big audience, but you also have so many people fighting for that same attention.
Right.
So I think that could probably make it way harder. I think before we move on, maybe we should hear like one of your older tracks. Okay. You were mentioning Addicts, and then maybe we should hear one of the tracks, old tracks from there?
Let's do it.
Do you have a certain one, or should I just put one on?
I would say go with one from Sandpaper Smooth.
Yeah.
Hosted by Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, and we talk a bit about that afterwards.
A little something for the bebop, hip-hop from the streets to the suites. That's right, y'all, the Sandpaper Smooth, Volume 2. Brought to you by the Rhyme Addicts and yours truly, Big Snoop Dogg, and the makers of Executive Branch. Smoke something, smoke something, smoke something, smoke something.
You know what we doing, right? I wasn't ready for this, man. Yo, Polar, what up? Let's go. I know my origin, wise like them older men. One life to live, I would love to do it all again. Hits like Sosa, blessed through the pad and pen. All for this hip-hop, homie, I felt the coldest wind. Peace to my man, Jewels, Polar, flying past the solar. They never knew a physical form can go this far. My spiritual can go light years beyond sonar. It's gonna be a journey they never took, so hold on. I can get my level up, I breathe these bars, stop yours. I keep my semi-tuck with me and my squad go. They eyes looking envious, situation treacherous, and that's when the metal busts. I'm ill-minded, the streets were my assignment. Survival was a test you passed, so be reminded. These hard times spent, success is an understatement. Trying to get this hip-hop cash before the hit to the game. I always kept the true, cause no matter the type of terrain, I'ma stay the same. I'ma spit these flames, I'm hip to the game. I always kept it true, cause no matter the type of terrain, I'ma stay the same. I'ma spit these flames, I'm hip to the game. I play a little homage, jaded off the nonsense. Y'all feeding off that bullshit, catered to the garbage. I'm guru with the full clip, pocket after the juice flick. Nas and Big L on some primo produce shit. ATCQ, KRS with the blueprints. A public enemy on some young Q shit. I'm ODB, getting drunk, acting ruthless. I'm Busta Rhymes with the dreads getting stupid. Mob deep, both the Henny and Guinness. I'm EPMD with a brand new business. Easy E before that White House visit. I'm Kumo D on that Wild West type of feeling. Understand, son, I'm hip to the game. Before these fags went back to the whips and the chains. So understand, I ain't trying to bring back a damn thing. I'm just trying to make it look like shit never changed. I'm hip to the game. I always kept it true, cause no matter the type of terrain, I'ma stay the same. I'ma spit these flames, I'm hip to the game. I always kept it true, cause no matter the type of terrain, I'ma stay the same. I'ma spit these flames, I'm hip to the game.
Yeah, that was a track from Rhyme Addicts, one of your old groups.
Yeah.
You've been in a lot of groups. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
was it Originals, Kelly Quotes?
yeah, damn.
Earth
Who brought up the Kelly quotes, all that shit, man. Yeah. So, see, but all those groups were like groups within.
Yeah, because
Rhyme Addicts, yeah.
it was like Originals was that the first thing that ended up being?
The very first group, which was like almost like a Wu-Tang thing, where it was like 9 MCs, you know, all deep. It was Earth Realm Crew, ERC. Yeah. So that was the first, and then within ERC we had the Cali Quotes, and we had a couple of those, and then from that it was kind of like shit was getting serious. Where okay, we're getting book shows where we have to sell the pre-sale tickets now, and like okay, here's 3 tickets you got to sell. So everybody was in charge to sell these 3 tickets. And sometimes, and it created turmoil within the group, was like some of the dudes in the group weren't able to come up with the money for the tickets, so another dude would have to put up the money so they could hop on stage, and then they would owe him the money after they performed, right? So a lot of the times, a lot of shit wouldn't get paid back, and there would be some turmoil. So it really created this like, yo, like who's really gonna do this? Like who really wants to do this, you know? And so it just really came to a point. Also, Mike Storm was a part of ERC as well. Mike Storm, the one that, yeah. So he was in our group, you know, from years ago. So yeah, it just, you know, we were just a big group of kids that just loved to rap, freestyle. We opened up for so many people. Talib Kweli, Dilated Peoples, Sly Boogie, Psycho Realm, R.A. the Rugged Man, like just everybody and anybody who came to LA, we were on that show. We opened up for all the venues that ain't even open anymore, you know, Knitting Factory and all these crazy, dope LA hip hop, you know, venues that were really cracking that are no longer there no more. We did it all, and through that we really got to see who was really, you know, gonna make this happen, and that's how Rhyme Addicts got, you know, formed, was because we're like, all right, we're really gonna do this, then let's do this. Yeah.
But back when it was the Sound Station, Hip Hop Hot Dogs and that stuff, well, who were you rapping with back then?
Oh, shit. That was before Earthrealm. That was just like, so, man, this shit goes back crazy. So when I was in high school, we used to freestyle during nutrition hours, lunch hours, and my friend Ilward, who's a part of the Rhyme Addicts, he would come through with a boombox and like fools would rap and stuff. So anyways, there was this other local high school, Sylmar High School, where they had a top hip hop group too. They were rapping too, and there was kind of rumors going back, oh, these fools said that they could
so, beat you in the battle.
Yeah, so literally we ditched our school, hopped on the bus, took the bus at their lunchtime, hopped the fence, and called them out at their fucking high school. And like, they didn't want to rap. They were like, we're gonna spit, you know, acapellas and stuff. So like, we really went there and like showed these dudes up, right? So the dude that was in the crowd, the one that, you know, put together the Hip Hop Hot Dogs, had seen us 2 years prior go to his school, kill his you know, the main
favorite
top group.
Crew, yeah.
So then he was like, oh, okay, so these guys could be beat. Like, so it ended up, you know, being I Suppose, which is the third member in our group, pretty much. So he kind of like, he was like, you know, so then I met him maybe 2 years later, and we battled when I first met him. He's like, yeah, like, I seen you years ago, you came to my school, like, I'm doing it now, I'm rapping now, like, so we like, you know, kind of went back and forth, and then it just became like like we were in there for like 2 hours just going back and forth, just freestyling, like all our friends are around and we're just going back and forth, and it just kind of became like, yo, like, you're dope, I'm dope, like, let's do some shit. And then so he was throwing these local hip hop shows at this Hip Hop Hot Dogs, and what it was is these porn stars, they bought this hot dog fucking shop, and they named hot dogs after the Ghetto Blaster and the fucking, you know, so it was like, so it was really cool, like hip hop thing, and they happened to open it right up the street from our high school. So my friend was like, hey man, like, you know, for your grand opening, is okay if, like, you know, we come and we freestyle, bring a DJ, like, yeah. So every other month we would do it, Hip Hop Hot Dogs and stuff, have another one, like, so we would just start doing it, and like through that, like a lot of these local MCs were like coming in, and like, so that's how like ERC got formed, the Earthrealm Crew. There was all these like dudes that were open, and I was like, yo, he's dope, like, hey, what's up, man, we should form like this big ass fucking crew, or like we're repping, you know, our town and shit, because they also had that whole vibe. And but also you got to keep in mind, they had the Project Blowed, which is in LA. We're from the Valley, so the first time we ever went to Project Blowed, they were trying to eat our heads off, like everybody was trying to battle us and stuff. So like we were kind of like creating something new, you know, because everybody that was from LA, if you weren't a part of the Project Blow shit, if you didn't go over there and rap, then you kind of weren't anything, you know, you kind of weren't known or nothing. But we were kind of like, you know, some dudes that we killed it, and we just happened to get opportunities to open up for shows, and we would kill them. And so people were like, yo, who the fuck are these kids? Where'd they come from? Because they didn't come up through the Project Blowed. They didn't, like, where'd they coming from? And like, we were in the Valley doing our own shit. We had the Hip Hop Hot Dogs and stuff. That's where we were just, fools were, you know, battling, fools were freestyling. It was really like, I'm getting chills right now, because like I'm thinking about like just the energy, and there was just like everything was so new. Everybody's like hungry. Everybody just wants to rap, like, and so from that's how the first group was able to form and like really you know. And then my friend Frank, the one that works for Snoop Dogg, his dad used to be in a band, so he already had a studio. He had his whole, garage, like, all soundproofed out and everything. And so once he decided to, record and stuff, that's where we used to record, was at my friend Frank's house. And he lived literally like up the block from the high school. So we'd all just get out and just roll into and literally we would be in there for weeks, hours, like years. Like literally we sat in there maybe 3 to 4 years prior to us even releasing anything, because we were just trying to get our shit right, and we dropped a couple mixtapes, like, this was before MySpace, this was before YouTube, this was before all that shit. Like we literally were at the grocery store, the CDRs written with a marker,
the
homemade shit, and literally, taking donations, like, hey, whatever you guys, can give, $2, a couple cents, like whatever, you know what I mean? So we were out there, man. We're out there just hustling the dream, man. And I just remember just everybody being all in, Everybody was super just young to it, and it wasn't how it is now, where a lot of my homies quit this shit because it just became too much for them, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of homies, unfortunately. And I've seen so many ill motherfuckers, and I think that's where I knew that talent doesn't do everything for you. You could be the illest motherfucker, but if you don't have
the
drive and just the push, man.
But you talked about the homie Frank, who that's how he started doing engineering stuff.
The Figment, yes. So
and then he ended up getting an internship at Doggy Style Records.
Yes, he did. He ended up working for Snoop, doing internship for a few years, man. And it was so cool because Snoop would leave the country and he has the keys to the studio. So we would be in a multi-million-dollar studio recording, getting our shit mixed, mastered. So that's how we were able to get Snoop on.
You had to do those interviews.
Yeah, so he was in the lab mixing the project, getting it ready, and Snoop's in there, and he's like, yo, what's that? Who's that? He's like, oh, this is my crew, man. I'm putting it together. And I remember the day, man, he hit me up. He's like, yo, you ain't ever gonna fucking believe what I got. I was like, what? He's like, check your email. I fucking press play, and fucking Snoop's all over. I was like, what the fuck? I was just blown away. Like Snoop Dogg. And then not only that, but one time, this is crazy. This is a Snoop story for you. So one time, a Frank just swooped me up, and we were just about to hit the studio, right? We had this whole shit, planned out. The whole day was planned. He's gonna pick me up. We just spend the whole day. Anyways, as we're on our way, Snoop calls him and says, hey, I need you to be here right now because I have to record. I'm about to leave for tour. I have, a few things to do. And he was kind of like, fuck, like I just told this fool I'm gonna take him to the studio and I have him with me. So he kind of was like, hey, he's like, is it cool if I bring, my homie? Because he's already with me, man, and we're already on our way to the studio. Like, I don't want to take him back home and stuff. He's like, yeah, it's cool. I was like, oh, shit. So...
Was that when you get high with him in the...
Yeah, man, it was so dope. So we go up in there and like, he's like, wait right here. So he, knocks on the door. He's like, hey, what's up? So he's like, the homie's right there. He's like, yeah. So like I walk up and like, I'm looking this way and I'm like, oh, so I look up, like, oh shit, he's tall, I'm like, oh fuck, what's up? He's so cool. Yeah, man, come in, dude. Chilling. I just sit my ass on the couch and I'm just like quiet. I don't say nothing, bro. I didn't say shit the whole time. I'm just like a fucking kitty girl, like a little fucking girl, like, oh my God, like this shit was so sick. Anyways, so he was working on a song that was for Michael Jackson at that time. I don't know if it got released, but Snoop has a song dedicated to Michael Jackson. Super ill. I got to see him record it. My homie, and this was the crazy part was like, so it's just me, Snoop, and Frank. That's it. So I'm just sitting there, I'm just absorbing, and like Snoop starts twisting up some shit, boom, boom, and like he turns around and he hands me a blunt. So I'm like, oh, cool, and I'm like, I light it up, and Frank turns around, and he goes, did he just give you a blunt? I was like, yeah. He's like, never does that. What the fuck? And I was like, shit, I guess I'm one of the only dudes in the world that got a blunt rolled by Snoop. You know what I'm saying? And literally, I was just sitting there, bro, and I was just in awe because I got to see one of the greats in action. I was a fly on the wall, dude. I didn't say nothing. I just fucking absorbed, and like
got inspired.
Super inspired, man. But that whole instant is all because of the homie Frank, man. He really used to put his neck on the line for us, and musically, I think he was always on a journey. I felt, he was always just like knew what he was gonna do, and that's why he really wanted to go to MI, because he wanted to make our shit, sound dope. He's like, one of us has to do it. One of us has to make our shit sound dope. So he did it, and like I said, he offered studios that were like, and we're recording on fucking crazy mics and crazy, SSL boards and all this crazy shit, and I'm just like, absorbing everything. But I feel like a lot of the opportunities that we were provided at that time, we weren't ready for them. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole Snoop shit, like the album was cool. It's cool, you know what I mean? It sounds dope. There's some cool tracks on there, but I feel like we got handed gold and we didn't know what to do with it,
But you hadn't yet really found your style.
No, I feel like I was still maneuvering around.
Maybe, I don't know, transitioning from your more I wouldn't call it deep, but more like melodic.
Melodic, yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
That you used to do.
Right.
So you were still going towards the more.
Yeah, I would say like
not necessarily hardcore, but grimy delivery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was more. I would say more harmonic and more. It wasn't as it was now. It was more. I think now I have a more clear cut of how I want to do it, and back then I was just kind of shooting
and
to
how
see.
You pitch your voice
I was just kind of shooting and see. Oh, will this work? So there's a lot of songs that just have different shit, like where I'm singing and I'm doing all this shit. So it is a culmination of who I am now, of just doing this, testing that, this style, that style, this beat, that beat. So yeah, man, and that's crazy, dude. That you bring up that history, man, because the hip hop hot dogs and all that stuff. That's what really inspired us. That we're like, yo, like this, like we love this shit. Like we're high school kids and like let's do this shit. And like I remember clearly as day. Back then I told my girl, I'm like, I'm doing this shit, bro. Like I'm doing this shit. Like I'm no matter by any means. No matter what happens to me in my life, I'm always going to come back to this, and I'm always going to give this my energy, my attention, because this is me. This is a part of who I am,
You knew what you wanted to do.
I knew what I wanted to, and
As you told your mom earlier.
Yeah, and it's just like anything else. Like not everybody is going to see your vision, and if they do, they're probably not going to be suited for it. They're only going to be there for this half of the journey or this half of the journey. They're not going to be suited to go all the way through with it, you know what I mean? Which is, completely understandable. It hurts, sometimes when you lose certain people that you would picture them on your journey the whole time. But, when you have a vision that way, you have to become relentless, man. You have to just, and even if it hurts you, you're the one that's at the butt of the fucking stake. I feel like, you got to just keep pushing through, man, because through the darkness, there's light. So I feel like, just keep fucking pushing through, man. And I think that's what I've been able to do throughout my whole career, man, with all the trials and tribulations, losing like key individuals that were in my life that, that truly inspired me and, showed unconditional love. I feel like I've lost a lot of those significant people, and I still have a few, you know what I mean, and I love and embrace, by any means, but it's just like it's hard to really look back now and see all the people that I was with, and not too many are there still, which is unfortunate, and I have nothing but love for them, whether it ended, bad or good, or we just took ways. I wish nothing but the best, for my people, man, that know my journey, and we're along for a certain period, so.
But that also maybe could be a good lead into, a segue into the next thing we can talk about, which is you going solo.
Right, yeah.
Like you said, at a certain point you ended up going solo and doing more, but was that with the European tour, or was that with before that you started?
Yeah, I think what had happened was I just had my son, and while my girlfriend was pregnant, she was, you know, she was having my son or whatever, pregnant. And through that, we were working on the Showtime album with the Addicts. And it pretty much just kind of led to me not being fully there for, you know, the birth. And just you know, just having that, because I had to put the fucking attention into the music and then the relationship and then having my son. So it was just a lot of things happening at that time. I feel like what had happened was, you know, there was that key point of like, okay, I'm having my son. Am I just gonna become a regular individual that just, you know, gets a job and comes home, I pay my bills, wake up, I do it again, I take care of my family, like, or am I really gonna do this artistry shit? Am I really gonna have to endure the hardships of like being broke and trying to make nothing out of something, or you know, make something out of nothing? I felt like that was the main shit, you know, was having to overcome all that. But the solo thing really came at that point was when I had my son, and when we dropped our first album, I felt like the rest of my group, they kind of just like laid back, you know. It was like, oh, you know, we dropped, and like Frank,
now it's done, yeah.
Yeah, you know, they're like, now it's done, you know. We you know, we had Crooked Eye on the album, and there was some key points where like, yeah, you know, we kind of, yeah, we're up there, we're getting up there. And like, I just had my son, I'm like, nah, man. So I locked myself back in the studio again with Frank, and I started working on the Building Blocks mixtapes, which is it's like a 4-tape thing, and it has like 15 songs each fucking tape. And like, so I was in the studio, I was calling up you know, my fellow local artists, hey man, I need a verse. So I don't know, I just, something kicked into me. I remember like I was at the studio one night, and I remember it was like an overcasty, cloudy night, and like I was just outside, I was like having a smoke, and I just remember like looking up, and I was like, and I was listening to one of the tracks that we had just laid for these, you know, for the mixtape, and the lyrics just like resonated with everything, and I was like, you know, I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna do this, like, I have to do this. And I just kept my ass in the studio, you know, and I just kept writing, and until I had those mixtapes, and then, all right, I'm gonna keep going, and then like, you know, and I started just adding, because if it was up to me, you know, to the group, we probably, you know, like, just to tell you, even now, we have a full project just sitting, you know, that I curated with the group to come to my house, my studio. I got the beats. Let's go, like amping the crew up. Like, let's go, dog. The Addicts got to come back. So we recorded a whole project through the COVID, and we have like 12 to like 15 tracks, unmixed, unmastered, just in the cut, you know. And there's just a lot. It's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of things, you know, that kind of just, you know, came into play towards the group, where like I kind of felt like they weren't in it as much as I was in it. You know, my heart, my soul, my pain, my, you know, and also I feel like I was always the one that was in and out of shit. Like I was always homeless. I was always, you know, all for this craft, like losing a fucking crazy, you know, job because my album just released with my homies, and like I have to go to work and I can't, you know, celebrate my, you know, my album. I said, fuck the job, I'm gonna celebrate my album. And I got fired that day. And I still remember, I was like, all right, well, if I want to do this, then this is what I'm gonna have to endure, is this shit. Like, people not, you know, understanding this shit. And there was a lot of people, oh, dude, you lost that job, you're a fucking idiot, dog. Like, I'm like, dude, I wanted to celebrate my victory. This is, you know, and that's how I keep this. I keep the music and how I want to celebrate myself and how I want to do it to the forefront, because it deserves that, because nobody knows the sacrifice that I had to do. Of course, they know certain things, but to really, you know, walk the shoes and know, it's like, I have to give my craft that respect. I have to give my music that has led me out of the depths that holy fucking space. Nobody could fuck with it. Nobody's gonna fucking mess with that shit. It's God-given, it's mine, nobody could touch it, you know? So I think that leading me through the group, everything, I think that's where the solo career really, you know, enveloped itself, was through that, was just the whole thing of like, hey, we released a project, we're good. I was like, no, I just had my son. I'm like, I'm doing, you know, it was just all the culmination of just, I'm gonna do this, man, you know, and that's that, and I'm still here doing this. And now, and honestly, I still feel like I'm a part of the group. We are a group still. Like, I never really fully, you know, considered myself a solo artist. Like, I never said, hey, I'm not a part of Rhyme Addicts. Like, it's still fucking Rhyme Addicts, you know. I hashtag that shit on every post because it's always gonna be Rhyme Addicts. But I kind of feel
you
like,
even have the tattoo.
yeah, I got the tattoo. It's like, you know, and that's the thing. Like, when I got this, I'm like, I'm getting it here, so you know I'm gonna do this. I'm not, you know, I'm letting people know this is what I'm doing. And I think now for sure people know that I do this. Like, they respect it. They have to respect it. They can't say, oh, XP's that's just XP. Like, motherfucker, like, I'm the motherfucking, you know, I'm the big mijo, dog. Like, I have my own aura. And this is the thing. Like, I do things not like everybody else. Like, I didn't link up with a bigger group to get this. I'm doing this myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like these other dudes that lock in with the fools that are already doing it and they get, you know, and then they get on and they're pop. Like, I'm doing it organically. I'm not adding water in mix. I'm cracking the grain down. It's a slow process, but it's a greater process because I see the respect coming in. I see the,
and you have the creative control.
Man, I got total control of what I want to do. I don't have nobody over me telling me what, when, how, why.
But
you know,
that's also for your first solo projects. How did you hook up with the producers that were on the, and also you did some features when you started going solo as well?
Right.
Like the Ice Rocks and stuff.
Yeah,
like
Ice Rock stuff. Yeah, I think that's what it kind of just.
Is that from Europe or?
Yeah, well, I met Ice Rocks in 2012 in Amsterdam. Yeah. So I met him and his group, and that was my first. So pretty much, as that's happening, like I'm dropping these mixtapes, my personal life starts to crumble. I split from my baby mom. I go live with my mom in Bakersfield, which is like almost 2 hours away from the sound. And like it's a little small town, not too much happening. And I started adult school. But this time, during this time, my tour manager, he said he found me because he went into YouTube and put up Windows XP hip hop. Because he was looking for a new artist to bring to Europe because he was already bringing Curtis Blow. He's boom. And then the first song that popped up was me and Big Twin. He pressed play, and that's how I ended up in Europe. That's faith. That's faith. He literally just typed in Windows XP hip hop in the fucking YouTube, and I happened to pop up. And then he's like, "Hey man, you're dope." And then so what he offered me in the beginning was like, "Hey, I have a compilation project that I'm putting together with local artists. I have other artists from America." He's like, "I want to get you on it." And then he was doing a tour with a local artist he was bringing on. They were going to Spain and stuff, and he wanted this compilation so he could be at the shows giving it out. Hey, these are other artists that I have potentially.
Yeah, the same thing you've been doing with
the
two tours here.
Yeah, exactly. So just kind of like showing love. And from that instance, he was like, "How much would you charge?" Or well, he didn't ask me how much would you charge, but he was kind of like, "Can you work with these artists over here, jump on tracks, and I want to bring you over here and kind of get your name over here." And I was kind of like, at first I was broke, man. I have no money. I'm fucking flat, fucking on my face. I'm like, should I ask this dude for money? And like, I think that was like the breaker, because I was like, I could ask him for money, but I don't do this, and be on some like shit like that. But I was like, no, this is an opportunity for me to get my name out, and I have a person that's willing to get my music and pump it, and fuck it, yeah, let's go. And he started sending me music, and maybe 2 years we worked together. So within those 2 years, my life's fucking in the shits, and literally I left my house with just my car, my PlayStation, and my clothes. I left my son with his mom and had to go figure some shit out. But during this process, Yannick's telling me, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you out here." And he had told me this a couple times, and I was kind of like, "Dude, I don't want to hear it, dude. Like, I'm kind of giving up on this shit already, dude." And like literally, like I felt in my heart, I was like, "Dude, something has to happen, because if not, I am fucked. Like this is it. This is like the fucking moment. Like, I'm either gonna do, like, something's gonna change my life, or I'm gonna have to just be a regular fucking, brick in the wall." I was already going to adult school on the bus. I was like waking up at 6 a.m., hopping on the fucking bus in the cold to, learning to how to do a paragraph again and do a resume for it. Like, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this ain't me, you know? Like, I could feel that shit in my soul. And so Yannick hits me up and he's like, yo, check your email, man. And keep in mind, you know, before then, he was like, he was already telling me like, boom. So he had my information already, my name and everything. So, and I had just had a passport because 3 years before, me, my baby mom, and you know, my son, and we had went, you know, to Cancun. So I had to get my passport. So I already had it, you know, but I didn't see.
Which is usually actually a problem with American rappers.
It was just boom, boom. It was just like, bam. It was just got used that one time. And like, I didn't envision myself going overseas, but I was ready. So he's like, yo, check your shit. And I checked it and I had my flight. And what he did, he was like, look, I'm going to try to get you some shows. I'm going to try to do what I can, but this is going to be a promotional tour. Like, you're literally going to come out here. You may not make no money, you may, but we're going to, you know, I'll try to do my best. And that's what he did. And that's what he's been doing these past couple years. Is just like, yo, let's come out and let's just build. And literally, man, I literally packed my shit. I left, bro, I was out there for like 2.5 months, just like living in Switzerland and doing all this crazy shit, you know, and doing shows, doing hip hop shows for like, you know, the youth at like, you know, the youth center and doing some ill shit that I've never done. I was like, yo, this is pretty sick, you know? But that tour, I met Ice Rocks in Amsterdam because they booked us for this group called the Shoguns with a Blabbermouth. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, so, I have some miles.
Oh, okay, dope. Yeah, so it was his. So he was having an album release in Amsterdam, and I just happened to get, you know, booked on that shit, and we flew to Amsterdam, and Ice Rocks and his group, DXA, they were opening up for them. So I was opening up for DXA. DXA was opening up for the Shoguns. It was only us three, and that's where I met Ice Rocks, and I met, you know, Don Peace, and you know, which is my man, you know what I'm saying? That's my brother.
Yeah, you had him along the last time you were here.
I'm gonna see him again in a couple of days in Switzerland. So it's like, you know, it's a lot of these relationships have been through the course of just these accolades that have been able to, you know, transpire through a lot of trial and tribulations, you know, and just a lot of, you know, faith, like just keeping the faith and just working and just knowing in your heart that this shit is gonna happen, even though everything around you is fucking collapsing. You know, your life is in ruins. Your relationships are in ruins. You don't know what you're gonna go back to. You don't know what you know, and it's just like, just knowing the faith in your heart that everything is gonna be okay is what hip hop has, you know, been able to do for me by showing me that the more I work at it, the more I can become what I want to become. You know, and it's proven to me plenty of times that it's, you know, saved my life. Took me out of shit to, you know, bring me here, you know, to this place, and I'm able to meet, you know, Tox, you, and just everybody, man. It's yeah, man. That's how that project got created, man. It was meeting Ice Rocks in fucking Amsterdam, Nomads, and speaking of Nomads 2 coming soon.
Perfect. That's good to hear as well. Because you have been making up with a lot of people since then. Yeah. I think before we talk about that, we should probably hear one of the tracks from like...
Nomads, or which one?
Yeah, it's up to you, from somewhere in your career.
All right, how about You Surprise Me? Let's go.
Yeah, I would always probably take from the Keep Firing then.
All right.
That's
that's your
really,
thing.
Because that was the first vinyl,
yeah.
And also for... that was probably the biggest name you had.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Marciano.
Definitely.
I think that would be fitting to like put it further. Not that the other project wouldn't do, but this is just for. We have it on the table. It's
right.
It was the first. It was the first one that actually came out on vinyl, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's my first vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first.
That's
vinyl.
what I remember that as well. Yeah. So that can be commemorated in that way, I think. So
thanks. All right.
We'll put it on a track. I'll think about which one and put it in. So
seen that money in the stash stacked to the ceiling. Do this for the have-nots and the God-willings. The have-nots and the God-willings. I do this for the have-nots and the God-willings. I seen that money in the stash stacked to the ceiling. Do this for the have-nots and the God-willings. The have-nots and the God-willings. the have-nots, yeah. Hey, yeah, I see my plans fail, some move successfully. I never waited for anyone to invest in me. My presence be a readily force of pure energy. A chosen few, a different hue, I'm from a different pedigree. Something deadly is something we sending enemies. Had their body at the bottom covered in anemones. Enjoying my lobster with the finest amenities. Making sure my name reign on through the centuries. My specialty be cooking it up from scratch. Recipe like what put Colonel Sanders on the map. Whiplash when my fish start cracking up your mask. Get the bag, break it up, put it back on the ad. See, I ain't have to take a stab at the trap. I was born with a scale and a stack and a sack. Ready for whatever it costs, handle that. So my first rock when Pump was in the back of the lap. Packing the mat, got freaks and candle wax to set you up, that's facts, no caps. I'm throwing in when you cats cannot match. You throwing in the tail, my G, you can't last. I surpass the norm, child born out the lightning storm. I came to bang the hammer, I'm through. I seen that money in the stash stack to the ceiling. I do this for the have-nots and the God willing. At the premiere of my movie, I told them roll the tapes. Let it bang, got Marciano throwaways. Used to blow the gauge, razor blades, cocaine. Now I pose for frames all up in my own lane. They ain't never find a killer, that's your cold case. Praying that the homie reach the gates. God's grace, never running one-legged at the track race. Gotta keep pace, leave it laced, that's fate. When you see me with the greats, better leave a little space on the wall for my name. You lucky to get a taste. I'm the gem that they talk about. You took the target route, never move or run your mouth. I'll take the garbage out, you ain't saying nothing new. Me and my team eating, y'all just a partial truth. You know the goons use the parcel too. We used to play on the same streets, they prostitute. Now we here getting lots of loot. I was the smartest in the sandbox. Word the sand lie. Try and knock us, you know we can't stop. Pitbull or the padlock. You know the gun be the mascot. Sicko mode, trash Scott. I hit the lick, then I lash out. Cause some homies ain't around to enjoy all the cash now. In New York, I was downtown. Spent some money on some kicks and fly fits, a few down. We owe it to ourselves to get the best. Get a win, spend a couple checks, expecting nothing less. I do exactly what I came to do. Ass kicking and bubble gum, and there ain't no more gum to chew. I see that money in the stash stack to the ceiling. I do this for the have-nots and the God willing.
So that was the Have-Nots with XP the Marxman, produced by Marciano.
Yes, yes.
So how did you hook up with Marcy?
That was to the homie Big Twin. He's always been a conduit for introducing me to, you know, bigger name artists and the people he's
also got to have a lot of connections.
Oh yeah. Everybody rocks with Twin. Everybody loves Twin. And you know, just, you know, being around him and stuff. And he had introduced me to rock when we went to a rock show, and Alchemist was there, DJ Muggs, like everybody was backstage. It was a super ill show, and he introduced me to him. And at that time, you know, I had a little bit of a business happening and stuff, and he, you know, he wanted to check a couple things out, and I went to his apartment building for that. And but when I went to his spot for that, I already had in mind the song that he was gonna get on, which is Open Doors for the Nomads project. And I already had spoke to Ice Rocks, because Ice Rocks already knew Rock, and he was kind of like, okay, you know, I'm gonna shoot our shot, and you know, kind of wait and see when I see him to ask him and stuff like that.
But you already wanted to have him as a rapper.
Like there was, so when I went to New York for my first time, we were, you know, finishing up the project, and basically what happened was Ice Rocks, he made that beat on the spot, and like when he made it, I was like, yo, we have to get Rock on this one, you know, like I could hear him all over this, you know, and it was the idea since the beat was made. And then maybe 2 years later, my financial situation's a little better. We're like finishing up on the project. And, you know, basically it was a thing of like discussing something else and then just shooting that shot, you know, and pretty much it was a conversation, you know. He just asked me, like, what else you got going? And I was like, oh, well, I got this project with Ice Rocks. And he's, oh yeah, I know Ice Rocks. I was like, yeah, so I've been, and keep in mind, he doesn't know I rap, you know? Like he has no idea in his mind that I rap. And I kind of felt like maybe he felt it was odd that I was, you know, that I was like, oh, I have music too. You know, obviously everybody, you know, does music now to a certain degree. So you're, you know, and when you're an artist like rock, like the last thing,
everybody wants
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to hear some fool in your house saying that that he raps, you know, and like, but I utilized that time and that moment to be like, yeah, like how much you charge for, you know, a feature? He's like, charge this. I was like, cool. Like, he didn't even hear me rap. He didn't even hear the song. He was just maybe.
Yeah, probably if he knew Ice Rock and knows that he would
work with me.
Who he would work.
Right. So he's probably like, oh, maybe, you know, he hadn't heard me, but he's like, I know it's not whack.
Taste,
yeah, maybe it's not whack, you know, or whatever. But he hadn't even heard the song or anything, but he agreed to it. And I was like, all right. And he's like, you have the song on you? I was like, yeah. And like, I played it, and like I had let him know. I was like, yo, so we have this track that we have in the stash that we hear you, that when we made it, we heard you on it. And so he pressed play, and he was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that say that they hear me on shit, and like I hear it, I'm like, yeah. He's like, you hit the nail on the head with this one. I got you. So that's how that relationship began. Was like, we were cool, just like off homie shit at first, and then I let him know that I rapped, and you know, he was like, and then it was crazy because when he heard, because I already had my verse and the hook on there already. And once he heard that, like, he was like, hey man, like, you can rap, like, you know, and I could see it in his eyes, like, wow, like, fuck, all right, you rap. You're not just like trying to get a feature with me to have a feature with, like, you're, you know, like, yeah, you rap, like, all right. And so, yeah, that's how that happened. And then how this happened, Continuo a Sparare, how that happened was shooting the video for Open Doors. So I'd rented out an Airbnb, and Rock had got a book show in San Diego. And the people that had booked him, they're like, yo, you can open up for him. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm already opening up, you know, for Rock in San Diego. So I was like, can I use this opportunity to shoot a video? And that's when I did. I just put my mind in action, and next thing you know, I had the Airbnb, I had the videographer, I had a model, I had people help with the process of the video, you know, like everybody came through, everybody put a lending hand on it. It was amazing. So once we did that shoot and he saw how I kind of maneuvered away, I just wanted to show him, you know, my professionalism and how I
You were serious about this?
Yeah, I was super serious about it. And so after the shoot and after the show kind of thing, I kind of was like, yo, like, what's up with some beats, Rock? He's like, come through. I was like, shit, okay. So, you know, give or take a couple weeks after the shoot, I was like, yo, Rock, what are you? He's like, come through. So I went to his spot, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, you know, he's, you know, like every time I went to Rock, I went with money, you know, thinking what I thought he was worth. You know what I mean? Like, so if he was to hit me with like a crazy fucking number, I would be able to pay it, you know, because that's what he's worth. You know what I'm saying? So I went there with like, geez, man, every time, you know, and he fucking surprised me every time because he showed me so much love. You know what I mean? And so I just like, I went there prepared, you know, financially, knowing that whatever he was gonna ask of me, I was gonna do it because I believed in him to that point, and I believed in myself. Like I felt like you know, I need to put myself in the position to rap over some Rock Marciano beats because shit, who doesn't want to rap over a Rock Marciano beat, you know, and be given that opportunity, whether, you know, it's a, you know, a paid opportunity or not. It's just being able to float over one of those instrumentals. And so after that shoot, man, is when I shot the shot for this, and I let him know pretty much. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna drop an EP, man. You know, he's like, oh cool, man, for sure, let's run it. So and even the release of, you know, Keep Firing, I did a good, you know, campaign, at least for what I could, you know, on an independent scale, and then locking in the deal with Tough Kong and you know, them doing the vinyl that came out super sick.
The cover is looking good, with the sticker especially.
Thank you, man. Yeah, like, and you know, my man Orlando. So the first time I came out to Europe, the guy that does all my graphics is from Italy. The first time I came out to Europe, I went to Italy. Had a show out there.
Ah, is that how you
That's
got
how I met
introduced to Dom, but also to Dom, or Dominique from Tough Gun, was that also through him?
Oh no. Well, no. I didn't meet him. No, but
Okay.
but it was kind of cohesive because I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna name the album like, you know, an Italian name, give it like a whole nother like, you know, identity. And then the guy that actually worked on the cover is from Italy because I met him when I was there, and he did the graphic for the flyer that I was on the show.
Ah.
And so he's been doing my graphics for
A long time.
a long time. Yeah, he like this is my brother. You know, he's and I call him, you know, my shooter because he all these covers he's done them all. You know, and I feel like I don't have to tell him, hey, change this. Every time he sends me something, it's fucking good. I don't have to say, hey, it's like one shot, you know, and he kills it. So, so that's how, so it's just like, it's crazy how like everything kind of just came, you know what I mean? And then a lot of support after that from Italy actually came, man. Like there's a lot of people hey man, we heard your album. Like, where are you Italian? Where'd you come up with this? I was like, honestly, it was just, I just wanted to translate, keep firing in a different language. And I felt, you know, my homie that's doing all my art and stuff, I was like, he's from Italy. Like, you know what? Let me give him that love. Let me give his, you know, country that little bit of a spotlight, you know, and keep it a little bit more like tailor-made to, you know, something.
And that makes sense because I always thought it was just because it was on Tough Con and
Oh, nah.
because of the Italian heritage there. I hadn't even noticed that Orlando was from Italy as well.
Yeah, he's from Italy. So, and you know, I had, like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting him in the flesh, you know, when the first time I went there. Very briefly though, but we kept a rapport through, you know, Facebook, Instagram, and you know, the past, I want to say since I've been releasing all these, you know, projects, he's been my right hand guy. He does all my flyers. He does everything. He does all my campaigns. Amazing graphic designer.
Yeah, but you've been hooked up with a lot of great producers like through the years. Some for just a few tracks, some for a whole album.
Yeah, definitely.
But the whole Beat Junkies thing, how did that come about?
Well, another rock show in LA. I opened up, you know, for rock in LA, and Rhapmatic was rock's DJ for that show.
Yeah.
And I had never met Rhett, but I always grew up off the Beat Junkies. Like I remember freestyling to Rhapmatic beats in the garage, like when I was a fucking teenager, and just being, you know, listening to Duck Season by, you know, DJ Babu, just being a heavy, you know, Beat Junkies head. They're from LA, you know, like it was like, that's our shit.
Connected to so many different
so many, so many, man, so many. From
everything from Stone Throws to Dilated to like everywhere.
You know, even the Kanye joint that, you know, Dilated did, like, and all that little bit of, you know, like all that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they were
and D-Styles going down.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's super, you know, super connected, you know. But, so that show, I met him. And he's like, yo, XP, man, dude, like, you killed the show, but, you know, I've been seeing you, like, your shit is dope. Like, no. We kind of hit it off. I was like, and then it just hit me. I was like, you still making beats? Like, he's like, yeah, actually. I was like, let's do some shit, man. He's like, all right, I'll shoot you some shit. I was like, fuck it. All right, cool. So maybe, like, couple weeks went by because he's super busy. You know, he works as a teacher at the DJ Academy. Yeah, the DJ Academy, and then he also does jiu-jitsu, and then he also does, you know, hella gigs, and then he takes care of his mom. So he's a busy dude. So I didn't obligate him.
Yeah, the DJing alone is more than what most people do. So.
Right, exactly. So you know, it kind of just got laid out like that. But pretty much, man, he sent me a first pack, and it was right when COVID hit. Boom. So I get the first pack. I'm working on like, so I pretty much killed maybe like 80% of the beat pack he gave me. So I sent him all that stuff, and it kind of sat for it because COVID's going on, and you know, this and that, and it sat. And then so once we came back to revamp and like redo the project and start getting shit ready, I guess in the midst he had told D Styles about me. And, you know, D Styles never heard of me, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing it. He's like, you know, what are you working on right now? He's like, I'm doing this shit with Expert the Marxman, local. Like, all right, let me hear his shit, you know? So he sent him some of my music, and, you know, D was like, shit, well, what's up? Like, let me hop on this shit too. Like, let me shoot him some beats, and then me and you could produce it, kind of thing. Like, they developed that whole idea, and then they came to me with it. Like, he was like, yo, would you mind if, D Styles hopped on it, and I was like, let's run it, man. Let's run it. So it kind of just, and then we tried to get a beat from Babu, I think at one point too, but I don't know how that really panned out.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out, but in the beginning, that's what it was gonna be, and it had a totally different title. We did it so Pacific Standard Time was originally named the Tom Fears album.
That makes sense, yeah.
And Tom Fears is the first Mexican-American NFL Hall of Famer that played for the LA Rams. So I wanted to, and like the Rams just won the Super Bowl, so I was like, oh, that's a cool thing. Like we could like kind of spin it off. But once the artwork was made and everything, like I'll show you the alternate cover that we had, the whole thing. Like we kind of looked at it, like, yo, we're gonna get hit with a fucking cease and desist, like NFL. I mean, we're just thinking about future. Yeah, just like and we're like, oh well, And then I remember, we're kind of shooting names around, and then I don't know if it was Rhett or D, but one of them was like Pacific Standard Time. I was like, oh, there it is. And then I felt bad for Orlando because he had done all these graphics and done all this shit, and I was like, hey man, he's like, but Orlando's my brother, super understanding, and he was on it, and then he fucking created the new one. So yeah, man, yeah, that's how that connection got made, man. Was at another Rock Marciano show.
So Rock is sort of a hub for some of it.
Yeah, man. I feel like I think what happens is when you get great artists like Rock, and there's just people like Rhett, that are surrounding them, and just people that are just around, the opportunities are there. And I guess if you're able to pursue anything other than just, hey, what's up, man, nice to meet you, and you guys have a mutual respect for each other's art and stuff like that, there should be no reason why you guys shouldn't work together, especially if you guys are from the same place, you know what I mean? And I feel like Rhett and this is the thing, the Beat Junkies hadn't released anything in 10 years. This was the first.
Well, yeah, officially as a Beat Junkies.
Yeah. So this was their first release after 10 years, being on the label and shit. But yeah, man.
Yeah, and you've been keeping busy. You've been releasing a lot of stuff, working with different producers.
Definitely.
So I think we have a lot of it here. You have some on vinyl. You have a new one coming now, actually on vinyl as well.
Yeah.
That was a French producer, right?
Yeah. Well, that's crazy too. So there's a producer I work with out of the UK who sampled Forever Pavitt. We released the song. Forever Pavitt hits me up. He said, hey, you sampled my shit. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I composed what that producer chopped up. I was like, but he's like, I loved it. It's dope. Like, I've always wanted to do a hip hop.
Yeah, but he didn't really do hip hop before.
He does movie scores for fucking French films. He does psychedelic, but he plays every fucking instrument. He's a composer. He's not just he plays the shit. So, and in my head, I'm like, fuck yeah, like, let's do this. So this album took about 2.5 years to make. This happened this happened. The idea came during the COVID shit. So he would like send me beats, and like I would write, attack it a little bit, move on, come back. So it kind of like, and there was a few songs that never made the album. So we have other songs that we made that he felt like, and I kind of left it in his hands because he's a composer. So I'm like, I'm just gonna make a hip hop album. This guy's gonna make a score. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it in his hands. You know what I mean? And I did. He brought in musicians and all this shit, and then he was able to lock in the vinyl deal with a BMM Records, which is an independent label out of France and out of Paris. So, once they locked in, like, yo, we've heard the songs, it's amazing, like, we want to be a part of this, like, this is going to be history, because now Forever Pavitt's crossing over into hip-hop, you're crossing over into the movie scoring, and this is going to create something great. Like and I didn't see it that way at first. I was like, wait, I am entering a whole new genre right now, like, and like, Forever Pavitt, he travels to Japan and he's with his band, and like, he's touring constantly. So I'm like, this is gonna open up new avenues for and I talked to them already, like, we want to tour the album, we might want to do something like that too. So yeah, man, that's how it happened, like, just making a good song, and the guy that actually made the sounds, he wasn't a dick. He wasn't like, yo, you chop my shit. Where the fuck is my royalties? He's like, he's like, let's do
something.
Yeah, you know, like, and that's so dope because that's rare. You know, it's rare for, in hip hop at least, for a person to sample your shit and like the person come back and be like, hey, that was dope. Let's make something. Like they're coming back and like, yo, we want our royalties. We want our, you know, whatever. You use my shit. Whether you're making $1 million or not, you're using my shit. So yeah, that's how it came about, man. And now we're here. Now we dropped the album next month. We just dropped the single today. It's on all platforms. We have a little bit of promotion happening. And when I go to France in a couple of days, I'm actually linking with the label and picking up my fresh vinyl from France. So yeah, it's crazy, man. This hip hop thing has been the biggest blessing so far in my life besides my son. And you know, I just keep treading new ground, and I keep elevating with it, you know. And I guess through it all I really want is that respect, that this is what he does, you know, from my friends, my family, my loved ones. Everybody needs to respect me and see this like I'm not just Joe. I'm not just, yeah, I am to my family and stuff like that, but
you're also no longer at a place where you're trying to escape.
Exactly. Yeah, where I'm like,
so you're at a more comfortable spot where you can actually enjoy it, where you can actually more do what you want. You can more try to explore new avenues instead of having to hustle to get it.
Yeah, and then too, like, you know, I think a certain part of my career, I was always like, look at me, I could rap. And now I'm like, dude, if you know I rap, cool. If you don't, I don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, this is what I do. And if you do hear me, I'm sure that you might want to fuck with it, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, there's a certain point where, you know, obviously you don't want to toot your own horn and be fucking, you know, an asshole about it, or, you know, try to be cocky. But there is that certain level of, you know, confidence that you have to walk into a room with.
Yeah, it's also a battle culture, so, you know.
Yeah, it's you know, it's fucking, yeah, it is a.
If you can't prove your skills, you're
you're a whack MC, man. You know what I'm saying?
So that's also what it's all about. But It's also why it's good touring a lot with this, because you get to show your skills instead.
Right.
And you often can get, that's probably also what it's been for you going through Europe. A lot of people that don't know you but see you live and discover you.
Yeah, and then you know, it becomes like, you know, like a lifelong, you know, kind of friendship, because like I'm in your town, it's intimate, like, you know. And then, like I said, I'm not like these other artists where like I come into your town with hella bodyguards and fools are fucking around. Like, I'm with the people. I'm at the bars. I'm chilling with the people. I'm sleeping in fucking people's houses that house me, you know, that.
Yeah, and it's, you can even just hear you hooked up with the people that booked you the last time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know.
Even the guys from the venue you met up.
I met up with them.
I'm meeting up with them.
Having dinner. Yeah, you know, and it's like, you know, so that's what I'm about, man.
And that's also what we would get it. What I think the thing we can end this up with was like you and Tox hooking up. Like
that's another.
Because you know, when we booked you last year, he hadn't really heard about you. He hadn't really checked you. So I mentioned to him, and as he also told you that he should check you, and you did the thing with. You know, when you need to co-sign you, it's good to say you did something with Marciano, who, as we talked about, because that's always, okay, then I need to check it.
Yeah, so, okay, let me check that out.
Yeah, I need to check it, because he doesn't work with anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, it's just, he heard it, he loved it, and then he came to the show, and we were already talking about, he'd see if he could talk to you, and get to do something with you. I was thinking would be nice, he would think it would be nice, and then it didn't end up happening that you recorded last time. Sometimes can be just it and nothing happens. Right.
Exactly.
Because if you don't do it while the artist's there, then sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it just doesn't even happen. Yeah, because like, you know, artists get really busy, and there's a lot of people that want them on songs, and you know, there's constantly people shooting them beats, and you know, they could be ill beats too. So it's like you have to really, you know, and me personally, I kind of clear my, you know, schedule, you know, a lot just to listen to beats and give people that chance, you know. And I remember just hearing what he came with Tox came with, I was like, okay, this shit is dope, you know. And then I just told him, yo, keep sending it, and next thing, now we're here, you know. Now we're at a point where we got a good, you know, body of work where we can, you know, look at what we got, add, take away, and see where we want to go with it, you know. And I feel super confident in what, you know, Tox can do, and you know, the sounds are, you know, top tier. Like, that's the shit that I want to rap over. You know what I mean? It's rare for me to really hear a pack and like I'm choosing like 80% of the pack. You know what I mean? super rare for that.
Yeah, and a lot of soundscaping in this type.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
where
exactly.
It's
It's very open, and I can just put in there whatever I want, you know, and just go this way, that way, this way. So very airy, very hardcore drums. When he uses drums, the samples are intricate, you know, chopped, and he adds different layers and stuff. So yeah, man, I feel like that's the kind of music that I need. I need that intricate sound. I need that layered shit that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also it's just good because we known about him in Denmark for. Actually, he I think he used to produce when he was younger, but him producing again is actually very recent.
Right. That's what he said.
Yeah. Where I work, we released like him and another Danish rapper who's also a producer. We released where I was working their like debut, which was his first like real thing, like I think 4 or 5 years ago, and we're up to now probably in late 2019, I think.
Right.
But yeah, and then he did a lot of stuff with Danish rappers, as you do when you're in a country.
Yeah.
They just do the local stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was like starting to hook up and wanted to do some stuff, and then he hooked up with Danielson. He hooked up with some other people.
Right.
And then they had some people come in Denmark that he could hook up with. So he hasn't been around that much that you've been able to listen to him if you're not from Denmark.
Right.
People are just starting to discover him,
Right.
I think.
I feel like with who he's locked in with right now, with me, Danielson and the people he knows, I feel like
I don't even know who we're allowed to say, but there are songs out there already with like I know at least like Guilty Simpson and Fat Cat.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. So he has stuff. That's what I'm saying. He's like, but I feel like
there's some stuff coming that's gonna put him more on the map.
Right. Because I feel like it's what's happening now. It's like that sound that's happening now. It's and who he's locked in with. It's like, there's certain pivotal artists that are coming out of the new renaissance that I kind of feel like everybody can see that like those are gonna be the next ones. And I feel like he's locked in on that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You are too, because you kind of provide the information too on who's hot, who's not, kind of who you listening to, or
giving him a bunch of names that I think he should hook up with.
Yeah, and then he could choose on his own who he feels, or preference wise, who he feels he wants to connect with or what.
Yeah, he's also an old dude. He doesn't always listen to him. Not that I'm not old, but he's older at least. But yeah, that's the thing. It can also be hard when you're disparate and listening to samples as he is, and trying to find stuff that hasn't been sampled before and shoving and doing a lot of beats and also working and also all the other stuff that's surrounding it. It can be hard, of course, listening to stuff like as a DJ, and also when I worked with like at a record store and was too responsible for buying all the vinyls we were selling.
Oh yeah.
Then I had to listen to everything.
Yeah, you had to know what's
at least within my like the genre that I consider to be good.
You're not gonna be like, I have to listen to every genre and get everything.
No, but it was a hip hop store, record store, so of course
it was very niche.
Yeah, it was still niche, and there are of course things that I don't consider hip hop that I would listen to, but there are people
that support
it. But I do check at least. Like at least probably 8,000 new tracks each year.
Well, see,
but some you do skip pretty quick because it's not good.
Like, and then see, but like you're a DJ, so like you're up on like what's dope, who's dropping. Oh, he just dropped this. Who has the vinyls? Like, and it that takes a lot of effort and time, to really understand the DJ aspect to the hip hop culture, because that's what it is. It's knowing. Yeah. Having to listen to fucking 100 trash ass tracks, and then there was one gem that I
also for curating, doing playlists, doing stuff like that.
What I'm saying. Yeah, you have to
even
listen.
that, but also a lot of the mixes that I do, I try to put a lot of the new stuff in, unless it has a certain theme that doesn't fit that. Like also could be just old breaks or whatever. Or it could be just 90s hip hop. It's more that I try to find whatever it is that's up. Also because it's not fun playing what everyone else is playing.
You want to, and
also
you want to break
people.
New shit. Yeah,
you want to introduce people to stuff, and also it's the same. Also, some people I'm just fan of. I think Danielson is one of the people I have the most vinyls with. He has released a lot, of course.
Yeah.
But compared to some of the other artists, we also just had we was lucky enough to have a lot of them in the store I worked, and like also certain producers that I just really like. Bought a lot, more or less all of Giallo Point stuff. Bought a lot of other producer stuff, because it fits the style that I like.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's then you also get a lot of different rappers through that. So when you follow that, you follow. It's probably all the same way you also find producers sometimes, that you follow you see that someone worked with someone.
Yeah. Oh, he's dope. You check it out. Oh, he's dope. He worked with it. Oh,
yeah.
You add him.
Let's see who produced that stuff to see. This beat is dope. Who produced that? Oh, I never heard of that guy. Yeah, let's check it out.
Right. Yeah. You just go down the wormhole, basically. You know. You
just kind of see. And that's what you do when you are dedicated to music, or you're nerdy about music, or you like. It's a dedication.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. Hip hop is a lifestyle. It's a cultural lifestyle, because I feel like no matter what color you are, black, white, it's like if you live this shit, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you wake up and you do this shit every day. It's a part of your lifestyle. It's you know, you do this shit. You live hip hop. You know.
Yeah, through that you connect with people.
Oh yeah.
In every way. Like last year I started just a vinyl Instagram, just because I thought that would be interesting to curate music through that. And that's been people from all around the world. Like,
yeah, now it's
like listening. Yeah. Like writing, and that's also why the podcast made more sense to do now, because
now you can bring some insight.
I had my own platform for it, and now I can see that people listen all around the globe to the podcast when I have guests that are speaking English.
That's awesome.
So that's a good thing, and that's also what it's about, like spreading
the knowledge. Yeah, man. And you know, not a lot of people have, you know, the time or the patience to put other people in a highlighted context, and like, you know, spend time to learn about them and stuff like that. Like, that's a fan, you know, first, and then you're like, see, and like, I'm a fan first too, so I appreciate those that appreciate, you know, because it's like, when you're a fan, like, you open up the CD, you pull it out, you fucking read every fucking thing in there, like, who you know,
to know the details, see all the documentaries, see the behind the scenes.
Like, you know, you really become like, you know, like pretty
read
much
the books, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's just like it becomes a part of your life, and then as you grow in it, the more knowledge you know about the culture, it's like you feel like, hey, I could add to this, you know, I could bring this knowledge, even though it's already been said. Maybe I could toss it into another, you know, kind of dialogue or a different kind of context. But yeah, man, we need individuals like you, man, that take the time to learn artists, listen, expose artists, you know, and you know, there's not a lot of individuals anymore that, you know, take that time, you know.
It's just important trying to like it's about, I think my mantra is always the music come first.
Right.
Because it's the culture and the music that drives us. But I also think when it's been like what we also talked about, that hip hop saved us.
Right.
For like both me and you, that we were in some shit and there was some stuff, and getting to meet new people, getting new opportunities through hip hop, getting stuff you could do through that helped us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And got us out of stuff.
Exactly. And then you meet your tribe, you know, like I said, like when I was wondering, like, Mexicans don't rock with me, fucking Americans don't rock with me, you know, like, where do I fit in? Like, hip hop took me in, you know, this is my culture. I'm able to, you know, and I feel like hip hop is its own language and dialect, because people learn. I met a lot of people from different countries that learn English off of hip hop, you know.
Yeah, I even learned English a lot through hip hop.
That's what I'm saying.
And music in general.
Just in general, just like that. But I feel
it's like culture will teach you.
Right, exactly. And I feel like hip hop's like like I said, it has people from everywhere, every part of the globe that give it energy, give it information, give it new life, you know. And yeah, man, I feel like, you know, I'm definitely a part of the culture, you know, definitely.
Yeah, I agree, and it's also clear when you when you meet you before and after the show that it's the whole thing. It's not just coming out and rapping.
Right. It's the whole package. Yeah. You got to be able to perform. You got to be able to record. You got to be able to write. You got to be able to compose. Whatever it is, you know, lock in, learn it, get the history on it.
But also as a fan, appreciating the fans.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because
yeah.
You're also good at that's also probably why you were talking to people the second time you come here and hooking up again, because you were spending time talking to them after the show.
Right. Yeah, man. I feel like you have to really give your audience that aspect of you. You know, like how are you gonna pull up to their town with full? I mean, I get it. I completely get it. You know, but if you feel comfortable in what you're doing and you're with the people and you know you're for the people, there should be no reason why you're in a place and you're afraid and you're not with the people. You know, it's very odd to me. I've seen it happen with a lot of artists where they pull up, they perform and leave. Like I've even seen artists walk by people waving a vinyl. I get it if you're one of those artists that but me, I've always told myself, I'm like, how can you get so big that you just walk
stay backstage?
Yeah, but you
the whole time.
Yeah, or you just chill back. But like, how do you walk by a person? Hey, can you sign this for me? And it's like one guy, and you know, it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, you're not, you know. But everybody's their own person, and you know, success is, you know, different in many ways for many different artists. But I feel personally, success to me is just me being able to be happy while doing this and being able to provide a life, you know, for myself, my son, my family, and wake up and be able to do my craft that I've worked so hard on, you know, for years, to try to tailor it up to where people see it in a light where they're like, yo, like, he does this. This is what he does. This is his job, you know?
Yeah. So I think we should listen to one of the tracks that you did with Tox.
Let's go.
So as far as I know, it's still Untitled, so I think we'll just put it in, and then
let's get it.
Talk a bit afterwards. And
all right.
Out the squalid red diamonds, dug from the earth like rhymes. I'm scribing the timing and the hills we was climbing. All seems remote, still afloat. Charcuterie board aboard a private boat. I had to take them to a place to where they're not alone. Surely there was ways to do it, and there was ways to don't. I've been king with the target. Me and the me-hoes, we mobbing. It's all in due timing. See, my armor was shining and blinding. This shit could get violent. I'm pressure applying. See, I'm a sick ass fool. This is the life I chose. I'ma flip that too. Yeah, I'ma pack that too. I'ma leave no proof. You know it's all about the moolah. I let me in the bank so I correctly word this. I draw first blood. It's over with. I lay in the vein so I correctly word this. I lay in the vein so I correctly word this. Yo, pockets an overload. Watch the product explode your nose. Mafioso, I'm Corleone. Original, just like an indigenous totem pole. My aura alone got these cowards exposing codes. Carry like chromosomes, still invest when I hit the checks. Cashed in soon as that bird left. Like Twitter X, finished just like a Mitchell and Ness. You're posing photo sloppy. You're not a plug, you just know somebody that knows somebody. Took a puff once and felt the sick blast. Then I zoned like resurrected with a hell's wind stab. Steady grinding for the big bags, heavy math in my psyche rich. Come by the strip where the griminess in my life exists. The flies drip, got the wifey's lit. Chain butter, take cover, and don't be a menace just like a Wayans brother. Don't do that. American Ego, Miho in polo sport. O and XP like a pony Nori with war report. I let me in the bank so I correctly word this. I draw first blood, it's over with, and that's stack. I lay in the vein so I correctly word this.
Yeah, and that was a yet to be released track that's still not named from Tox and XP's upcoming release or whatever you end up doing.
Yeah, we're just cooking up right now.
Yeah. See what it ends up with. Thank you for coming out. It was a pleasure. Thank you for playing. Thank you for everything. And we're just gonna end it off with a quick freestyle over one of Tox's beats as well, so you get like a double trouble from the
let's do it.
XP this time.
Let's get it. Yeah. What? Tox, what up? Yeah. Yo. It's that time of the season. Yeah. I show them the real rhyme and reason. I'm squeezing this 9 in my palm. Why you dudes stand calm? You dudes need to run like the alarm. Got pulled in your building, homie, I start killing. And y'all dudes ain't feeling. I left them shivering in the cold. Oh, I thought they would know to never even try to call my phone. Cause if you ain't got no money, then I ain't serving them nothing. Yeah, they come through and that's when the 9 start plugging. I leave you left like SpongeBob. All you motherfuckers got holes in your body. Your bitches like to grab my dick and slob. She a hoe like that. Spit that dope ass rap, homie. Them dope fiends got tracks cause I serve them. It's just like that. Your bitch, I curbed her cause she ain't on my level, dog. What a bummy. I don't know what she talking about. My style stay on another level like the stars in the moon. I'm coming soon. Hit them like a butterfly out the cocoon. My style, I have morphed into the shit that I have always tried to be. It's the MC, dog XP. Hit them with the authority. There ain't a majority like me. It's not likely that you could be on it. I'm hitting these dudes. Don't stand calm with these weapons I'm palming. Let's go. Yeah. Just a little something we flexing. Yeah. Just a little something we flexing. And I'm like a lethal weapon inside of the hands of Sylvester Stallone. Is Rambo, who wanna step up? I got that Tybo flow. I'm like a cobra spitting that venomous saliva. Who you trying to get liver with? Homie, I'm like the best thing you've ever seen. Some cooked dope. Who you wanna fuck with, homeboy? Your shit's a joke. You trying to provoke a king up on the throne. Get your head flung from your shoulders with the chrome. It's like that. Homie, I hit your head with a spike bat. I don't give a fuck. You can't spit it or write that. Yeah, you get left like New Jack City. The dude that's smoking crack, homie, that shit's a pity. You need to get you some bread and start stacking. I'm coming through. Every verse I spit, dog, is never lacking. And I'm never whacking this type of scenario. I hit these motherfuckers off. XP's on your radio. Let's go. Yeah.
Sure. We just check this.
Right. Freestyle, man.